Cool. Yeah, welcome. Also from my side, my name is Sven. I work for a small startup in Spain called Manfred. We're doing online CVs, so if you want to put your CV online, use getmanfred.com, and we help developers find their dream jobs. But I've been working for a couple of other companies before that you might know. MongoDB is one of the companies, or Atlassian, and I've been talking to a lot of developers. How to become more effective. And let me tell you one thing, it's you actually have a lot of technology out there, and you can solve a lot of problems with technology. You can run and you can be more effective with technology, but the truth is that it is always a people thing, right? Being effective is always a people thing. You can create great products, great products with a MongoDB. And you might be faster than developing stuff with a PostgreSQL because you can develop MongoDB in an agile way without changing the schema a lot of times, always on the database and in your software. But at the end, it comes down that your developers need to be effective. You can also be very successful with a PostgreSQL. So what is an effective developer actually doing, right? So an effective developer writes very smart code. Smart code, if you look at this, you're just like blown away. Your mind just blows up. It's just like, wow, I wouldn't have come up with that, right? And then they fixing bugs immediately. If they see a bug, it's just like fixed, done, and shipped to production. Same with features. They adding features like a champ. So if you just like go to the Scrum board in the morning and just like say, hey, what is with this to do? And then the effective developer raises their hand and say, wow, well, you can also remove it to in progress. No, it's actually done. It's a pull request in. You can look it up, and then we can ship it to production. Very, very effective developer. And they never stop. They're always hacking. You see them always hands on the keyboard, right? Always just like doing stuff. These effective developers are amazing people. So if they get stuck because they need something from, let's say, design, they just like stop their task, take the next one, and start hacking again. Always hacking, never stopping. And then also they live and breathe code. You can wake them up in the middle of the night and say, you know, I need to change this behavior on the web page. And then this effective developer says, yeah, wait, you go to this class, this function, change this variable, and then just like make some stuff, and then you're done. They live and breathe code. They know the code inside out. Actually, that was me. Back in 2003, yeah, I'm that old dude, and I've been working long in this industry. I was 3 years in my first job, and I felt like a superhero, the programming super. I was super effective. Now, almost 20 years later, I would say, really? Was I so effective? Oh, let's have a look at what I just said, right? Writing very, very smart code. My code was so smart. I was just like saying, oh, this is so smart. I put this and just like condensed this 10 lines of code into just 2 lines of code. Super, super smart. And then 2 months later, I said, oh, please don't touch the code. I know it's super smart, but I actually don't know what's doing inside. But hey, it's working. Don't touch it, please. I was fixing all the bugs because, hey, I was embarrassed. There was bugs in my software. I just jumped immediately on it and fixed it because I was embarrassed. But actually, I was doing this all the time, where I actually should have taken some step back and maybe take half a week off to fix the root problem and not just work around the root problem always just to like feel embarrassed and just like, okay, I need to fix that very, very fast. I was adding features, right? People were coming actually to my office, some salespeople saying, hey, Sven, for this customer, we need this specific feature. And I was just saying, yeah, cool, I can do it. I can hack it in and do it. But to be honest, these features got never used or rarely used. It was just for one customer where I actually should have spent the time to work on a feature that solves all our customers or most of our customers. I should have spent time more on that. I was always hacking, never stopping, always hacking, right? And I told you about this, just like jump on the next task if I stuck into one task. Well, that requires a lot of context switching. And we know context switching is something that takes time, just like to go to another task, get into the problem space, just like get into the code. We never get into the flow if we switch too much context. So I should have actually waited until the design was ready and said, okay, wait, I don't start with this task. I wait until design is ready, and then I start the task. Live and breathe code, knowing the code inside out. Well, I knew the code base, but I was caring so much about the code that I didn't have the time to actually go and get the broader view of the whole product. What is the product? Where is it going? Are we moving the product in the right direction? So with other words, if I worked more on the things on the left-hand side, right, and if I would push me harder, this is all about efficiency, right? I was very efficient. Bugs, features, code, everything. Where actually should have worked more on the other side, right? On the effectiveness. Was I really effective? Maybe not so, right? With other words, if I pushed myself more, right, I would have worked harder on the efficiency side, where I actually should have worked smarter. And that's what this talk is about. Who wants to work harder here? One guy? Great. Oh, Estonians. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sorry. Who wants to work smarter? Yay, great. You can stay here. It's your talk. Let's start first with talking about code, right? That's what we do day in, day out as developers. And to be honest, just like writing good code takes time. Huh? I was sitting sometimes like this in front of the machine, thinking about the code that I've write or that I wanted to write, and then my boss came and Sven, what are you doing, right? Why do you take so much time to write great-looking code and readable code? The machine doesn't care. And my boss was right. Yeah, it's compiled to machine code, executed by the machine. Why should the code be beautiful? Because humans care, right? We write code not just for the machine. We write them for humans. Why is it so important that my coworkers understand my code? Because we read code more often than we write code. So if you look at code, we often just have to change code or understand what the code is doing. And that's why it's super important that we actually write great code. And it's also about formatting the code in the right way. I told you I was writing very, very clever code, right? Why did I do that? It wasn't really readable, not for me, not for my coworkers. It was because I want to show that I'm a cool programmer. I wanted to say, wow, look at this. Just 10 lines of code, just 2 lines of code. Magic, right? But we shouldn't do that, right? It goes, simplicity over cleverness, right? Write simple code so everyone can read it, everyone in the team. Because you don't write code in your own bubble, even though you are so smart and can understand the code. But you are, as programmers, not all on the same level, right? So we should write very simple code. So how do we find out that our code is simple enough? We don't know, right? Is that simple enough for the rest of the team? Well, there's something like doing a canary test. Canary bird, coal mine, go down, air get polluted, canary bird dies, everyone has to get out. You can do the same with your code. You just show your code to your junior developers and ask them, do you understand what's going on? Well, probably they're junior developers, they don't know exactly what it's doing and stuff like that, but they say, okay, I can read it. I know in the grand scheme what it's doing, so I know what's going on, right? And then your code is probably simple enough for the rest of the team. How do you make that now into a process? And hopefully everyone is doing that, right? Everyone is nodding now. Yeah, you invest time in code reviews. Every line of code that's been written gets reviewed. No? Okay. Yeah. So we all know that we should do code reviews, right? It's not just to see if the code is simple enough, but also to inspire your junior developers, right? If they see something, they're just it's amazing what you can do with code. But you should also make code reviews to ensure a consistent code quality. That's also a fact. But I've been working a lot with code reviews, but not everyone is so happy with that. Why? Because our work just gets blown out to the whole team. And the whole team just sees what you have been written and judge you and gives you feedback. That's pretty hard, right? That's a pretty hard thing. And I think this is also the reason why people feel a little bit like, I don't like to do code reviews that much. So I want to show you something that we did, how we made code reviews a little bit more pleasant. Because it is a human thing, right? It's also like a human interaction when you write comments in code reviews, right? So first, before you just like start and make a comment on a code review, as a reviewer, try to understand what was the original author of the code that has written the code. Why did they come up with this solution? Maybe you don't agree, but maybe there was no other choice. So first, think and seek to understand why the person has chosen this solution. Then, if you have something to say, criticize the idea and never the people. That's also some leadership advisement, right? Criticize the idea and not criticize the people, right? Not just and also if you think never rant, right? It's like, oh, this is awful, and then leave the comment there. But also make suggestions and help the person to understand actually what's needs to be fixed, and don't just write the new line of code in the comment. Never spoon feed. People need to learn, right? Need to learn how to write good code. So also don't spoon feed. And a very important thing, comment on positive things too, right? Say, oh wow, this is brilliant. Oh, I didn't know that this is possible. This makes code reviews more pleasant, and you enjoy them more, and hopefully the whole team is actually doing that. But find your own kind of rules. This is what the Bitbucket team came up with when I was working there. So find your own kind of rules for making code reviews more pleasant and more human. Second thing I want to talk about to become more effective is to learn, right? As I said, when I was 20 years ago, when I was a junior developer and I just like came into my first project, I was so stunned by what's all possible with software, right? I was just like, whoa. This is possible. I guess came from the university. I just had a few projects there, developer projects, but I was really blown away, right? And this continues through in our industry, right? New technologies, right? If you're going to conferences like this, you just like see, woo, we are super excited about this new technology. We want it in production. We want it ourselves, right? We want this new technology in production. We want to work with it. Yeah. This is super exciting. And then you're this happy doing it. But as I grew older, and as developers grow older, they become a little bit like, don't like that anymore, or just like have seen things like, say things like, I will also survive the microservice and serverless hype, right? That will go over, there will come something new, really a new front-end framework. Again, that's number 30 on my plate. Scrum boards, I don't need this. I already know what's important. You don't have to tell me, kid. Or code reviews, not for me. My code is brilliant. It doesn't need to be reviewed. With other words, and this is a little bit like very stereotype, but we probably all have seen that. I experienced that myself a little bit. Like we become a little bit grumpy, right? We become the grumpy old person in the corner. But if you ask this grumpy developer, they will probably say, well, I know how to develop software. I know how to develop software now. But ask this grumpy developer the question like, do you think software development will change? And the answer is sure, we all know that, right? Just looking back the last 10 years, whoa, how much has changed, right? So our industry needs to continuously learn. We need to continuously know what's going on. We don't have to dive deep into all technologies and know everything inside out, but we need to know what's out there. So what I do is I listen a lot to podcasts. I was doing it on my way to work during the pandemic. I was not commuting to work, so I was doing some workouts, but I'm still listening to podcasts and audiobooks. Helps me to keep my pulse on what's going on. What we did at MongoDB was we have this book club. So I'm not a big book reader, but we read a chapter on a book that we choose every chapter every week, and then we met for half an hour, 1 hour, and discussed the things in the book, and that was super intense. We learned not just what is in the book, but also other people's opinion. So that was super cool. And what I did was with another team was I was doing this video Fridays because not everyone can go to a conference, not everyone has time to listen to audiobooks. So I wanted the team to just like like learn something as a team. So video Fridays on a Friday, 3 p.m., we stopped working, we watched a video, discussed it, and then we went into the weekend. Learning is actually super important to make new connections in our brain, to just like solve our stuff, the stuff ourselves, and not just like copy paste from Stack Overflow, but really solve the problem. But it's not just important to learn. It's also important to get rid of some connections, because something is not true anymore. Like I was in university and I was learning that the waterfall development method is the way to go. This is how we develop software. We all know this is stupid. We need to be agile and work in smaller iterations. So it's also important to unlearn. So it's a continuous thing, just like to learn, to unlearn, but there's one important ingredient missing here. We just learn from other folks, or just like from doing stuff in our daily work. No, we need also to experiment, to try stuff out. This is how we learn. And this is the third thing I want to talk about. It's experimentation. You may know that. If you're just like a developer, day in, day out, all your tasks are on this board. You just grab a task and execute it. Well, it's not true. Not all the tasks are on the board. Of course, you have a huge backlog. I know that. It's also the rest is somewhere in Jira buried, and you will never get to do it. But how do you know that everything is the best thing we can spend time on the board? Well, we know that this is not true. It's probably not the best solution that we have on the board. It's maybe not thought through, or it's not the best thing to work on to move the product forward. So we know that we have known unknowns. There's some stuff out there, and maybe we are doing the wrong things here. So we know maybe there's a better solution. Maybe there's a new technology, and we are reinventing the wheel here at our company. Or you miss some opportunities, some big opportunities to grow your product. Okay, how do we solve that? Well, it's pretty easy. Don't be shy, just try. Try stuff out yourself. So what I also did as a team lead, I was just like, we were looking into programming languages that we didn't use actually on a daily basis. Well, we had this coding session. So 1.5 hours each week, we sat there and learned TypeScript. Just because we couldn't use it, we used React, but we wanted to learn some TypeScript and see what it's doing. So this is just like, we know we wouldn't use it, but maybe one day there's a project coming up and we already have the knowledge of TypeScript and know what it's good for. So 1.5 hour investing on coding sessions is 1.5 hour on improving. The other thing is tools. We use a lot of tools, continuous integration tools, code review tools, all this kind of stuff, right? And we have a lot of tools in our tool chain. Do we know that if we use them effectively, is that something? We should also try to train ourselves with the tools. Maybe there's a new feature that we haven't heard of in the newest version. We should try that out. Maybe there's a feature that we're actually not using. Or trying out new tools, like, I don't know, if you're a Jenkins shop, maybe try GitHub Actions, or if you want to have online IDEs, try Gitpod or online dev environments, just to try it out, to see what's out there in the world. And we need to take time for that. Let's say half an hour each week, that's 2 hours of improving. But where we really can improve is improving the product that we're building, right? And that's all what company want. They want this innovation, right? We are an innovative company, great. And well, even though we want that, we all know that the problem is never the lack of ideas, right? We have tons of ideas, right? Tons of ideas. The problem is this Scrum board that we have to work on, and story points, and burn-down charts, and all these things. The problem is the lack of time to try them out. We never have time to try them out. So how much time do you need to try out a good idea? Well, let's say 40 hours, right? 40 hours for a great idea. That's what we actually did at MongoDB. We call it Skunk Works. So it's a whole week of just like trying a new idea. Maybe some just like need 30 hours or 24 hours. That's actually what we do what Atlassian is doing. 24-hour hackathons. They called it FedEx days because you can deliver something in 24 hours. Until FedEx came and said, if you type in FedEx into Google, you rank higher than our company. So they had to rename it to Ship It Days. Same thing, same stuff. So I just give you a short glimpse of how a FedEx day or how a Ship It Day runs. There are 3 phases: the before, during, and after phase. So before plan the hackathon long time ahead, like 3 months ahead, so people actually can schedule their releases or their vacations or whatever around these days. Then think first, right? Think first what you want to build, not just like going into the day and say, hey, what should we do? Think first, use this day efficiently. And then also what we do is, if we have a great idea, but we need a team, we're doing this brown bags, lunch talks that we just pitch our idea to the rest of the organization. If you need a designer, we just like say, hey, we need a designer for this great idea, come and join our team. And then on a Thursday afternoon, 3 p.m., we have a big clock, and the time is ticking down, 24 hours ticking down. Important, have fun, and you will have fun because you work on your own great idea. That's pretty energizing also, but also get energized. So order some pizza, some Red Bulls. To be honest, not the least people spent really 24 hours there. Some actually slept under their desk, but most going home in the evening and come back early morning to work on the ideas, because then on Friday, 3 p.m., it's showtime. So we just like do presentations. And as the company grew, we had some different half finals and finals. So we show 3 minutes, showtime, what we did. We celebrate the winner, and then we plan the next one. We plan the next hackathon so everyone knows, okay, great, in 3 months there's this next hackathon. And some things actually get on the product roadmap, but some things don't. And that's actually a good thing. I mean, if we ship maybe just like 5% of the projects, but actually the important thing is we know what we shouldn't ship, right? Because some things didn't work out. There were great ideas, but we tried them and wasn't really a hit, right? So we saved that time by also our innovation days. So if we do them every quarter, that's 0.7 hours a week, which means 2.7 hours spent on improvement a week. That should be it. That should be it, right? We should take that time. I can't just say invest time in discovery, see what's out there in the world, new libraries, new programming language, and also try out yourself. So the most important thing, if you want to be an effective developer, is you need to work on what matters, what turns the needle. So I recently saw this cool video here about a cool new technology that a car manufacturer put in. You can control the radio by gestures, right? Turn volume up, volume down. Actually, you can also pinch zoom into a map just by gestures, right? Isn't that great? Well, tell me, what problem did the car manufacturers want to solve with that? What's the problem with a touchscreen? I mean, really? Why did they spent a lot of money, a lot of engineering resources by building that, but I think they haven't really thought about what's the problem that we want to solve here. Is it just like a clean screen or what? I don't know, actually. And I see that a lot, that people come up with a solution and say, oh, we need to build this, and say, oh, yeah, let's build this, and then run down. And we don't spend enough time to think about the problem. So why do we solve that? Where is the data? So we can see we actually solved that problem for the customer. And what are other solutions that we can do? So at Atlassian, we developed this thing called a project poster. So a project poster is not, of course, a poster. It's a wiki page. But we have developed some serious questions here that we need to ask before we run a project. So all these things, and this is a living document, and gets updated all the time. So there's a lot of questions here. I share a link at the end, since you can download it and have a look at it. But this is really something, before a project starts, people need to fill out that project poster. Now, you probably have then a lot of these small things, like we need to do this, and we need to solve this problem and that problem. What should you work on? What should you start? How do you prioritize, right? My advice is to work on the happy path, what I call the happy path. So a happy path is where maybe 80% of your users spend the most time. This is really where you can turn the needle, to make things easier, solve things for the users. So do something like journey mapping. You probably have done that also, like go through the customer journey, write down where a customer's stuck, and then just like how you want to how you can solve the problems here where people stuck. And then do that for the different personas that you have, and on. So, is that great? Right? But now you might say, Sven, I'm a developer, hey. This is the job of the product manager, right? I'm just writing the code. I'm just here for writing the code. I'm just translating from my user story to code. That's what I do, right? So this is the job of the product manager, right? I wish engineers spent less time understanding the problem and more time coding. Who said that? Who said that? Said nobody ever, right? We need to understand the problem. We need to understand the problem. Of course, if you're just a junior developer, yeah, that's great. If you're a junior developer, cool. Try to code first. But instead of just like being engineers, we should become product engineers. We should also understand what is the problem that the customer wants to get solved, right? So how do you become a product engineer? Just a few hints here. You can come up with your own stuff. So what we did, we did a lot of what we called hallway testing, is you're going out with your software that you have been written to your coworkers and show them, hey, what do you think? Give me some feedback before actually the product manager takes it and gives it to the customers. You have so much knowledge inside your company that you will get great feedback from your own people. Also, what we do is we send developer on support. So a developer must spend actually 1 or 2 weeks a year minimum on support. So they just like answer support cases, and it's amazing. They come back and said, oh, I didn't know that our users have exactly this problem. We can solve that in just like one day of work or 2 days of work and solve a lot of support cases here. So get your developers closer to your actual users by sending them on support. And then help the product managers be data detectives. Look at where our users spend the most time, where do they stop working. So this is the job of a product manager, but hey, we are really at the code. We can really see that, not just like how much memory our software consumed or how the CPU usage is or whatever you're measuring. Measure also the user behavior and help your product manager understand better your users. All right, so effective developer. First, think about like how to code better as a team, right? Show your code to your junior developers. Understand that everyone has different levels, code levels. Then learn, keep on learning, listen to podcasts, whatever your thing is. Experiment. Invest time in experimentation. Also, and the most important part is thinking, work on what matters for your customers, right? So you might say like, oh yeah, that's a little windy road. There's no real recipe for me just like to go there. And it is like this. Like these are just like some ideas that I throw out there out to you to become more effective, right? It's not like something that you really can measure. But this is what efficiency is so great about, right? You can really measure number of bugs fixed, number of features implemented, story points finished. This is really measurable. But I don't say like efficiency is a bad thing. Of course, yeah, you should also be efficient, right? Invest time in automation. Look at command line tools to be faster, or like look at your processes. Like how can you be more efficient in your processes? This is also very important. But said that is efficiency helps you actually to get more stuff done. But effectiveness is actually to help you to get the right stuff done that counts for your customers. Or with other words, it's like efficiency is about your output, where effectiveness is about your outcome. And this is it. Think outcome first, be effective, and get shit done. Thank you very much.